Hi, I'm Gisela Di Carlo, and I'm here today to help you understand how you can deal with your pet's problems and also maybe with some of your own problems in a very nice and healthy way. I'm a classical homeopathist, and I deal, all of my household is everybody just gets homeopathy or a natural health product. We hardly ever go to the doctor unless something has to be cut off or has to be sewn back on. We generally don't go to the doctor. I do, though, find it necessary to have some testing done because a natural health practitioner cannot always do that. Um, so, if you have pets or you have horses or you have goats, chickens, many people today have chickens, it might be useful to know a few things that you can do. That is what this show is all about. How we are going to have the show is that you can call in, you can ask me questions, you can chat with me. And since this is the first show, I'm going to, if somebody calls in, I probably will have to look and see of how I can do this, but I hope you bear with me. I'm very excited about teaching you what you can do with your own pet. And that is just about it. I also will tell you a little bit about green living and nutrition for your pet and for yourself. But the emphasis will be predominantly on your animals. I find that with today's life being so artificial with so many things, with computers and so much electricity, and even though our pets don't have any cell phones yet, um, but they are disturbed by all of the electronics around us. And I can see that on my own pets. And I want to introduce you now to one of my co-hosts. His name is Charlie. And Charlie, come here, Charlie, come here, come here, come here. There we go. And this is Charlie. Charlie is a truly homeopathy pet. And in the background chimes in TC. TC is a little poodle. You will see him later on. And he is also truly homeopathy. Charlie, when he came to me, had a heart murmur, and we he is totally healthy now. The only thing is he does have an eyesight problem, which we're working on. But since he has Lyme disease, the Lyme disease has affected his eyes. So he doesn't see so very well, but he gets around just fine. And he gets into a lot of trouble, right? Don't you, Charlie? Yes, you do. And he is just a wonderful puppy who is the joy of our life here. Um, Let me tell you a little bit about homeopathy before I get into what you could do with your pet, because a lot of people do not understand what homeopathy is. Homeopathy was coined, the phrase was really coined by Dr. Hahnemann. He lived in 1755 to 1843 in Germany, and he really was a translator, even though he was a doctor, but he translated a lot of medical books and medical articles from English to German or from French to German. While he was doing that, he came about um, a remedy that he said, you know, was really kind of odd. It as you might have heard it, Shinoa, and that really treats malaria. And Shinoa, he had at the time he had the herb there, and he was playing around with it. And all of a sudden, the next day, he developed a lot of fever, and he the same symptoms as malaria. And he put two and two together and said, well, that must have been the Shinoa that I handled yesterday. And then he looked in all of the scriptures and in the old textbooks of medicine, and he found that the idea that Aristotle and Hippocrates had coined the law of similars. And that's what homeopathy is all about. The law of similars is that you can cure a disease by giving the same remedy that the disease exhibits, the symptoms that are exhibited. Like, for instance, if you have watery eyes and you sneeze a lot and you have a somewhat stuffy nose, well, those are kind of symptoms that you get when you chop onions, right? When you chop onions, your eyes water and your nose stuffs up, and it's not often a very pleasant experience. But if you give the remedy, when you have these symptoms, the remedy that exhibits the same symptoms, an onion, then that malaise or that problem in your body will be attacked by the immune system, and you will feel better. And that is because the body will not allow two of the same in the body. And that's what people are using with vaccination. They're doing the same kind of thing, only with allo medication. It usually is that the amount and the strength of the medicine is usually way too strong. And let me explain to you of what that means, because there's so much confusion on that aspect. When you have a sparrow, let's say a pigeon, on your roof, and that pigeon is, soiling your roof and really makes it not very, your windows are splattered with the pigeon dirt and so on. And you're really getting a little annoyed of this pigeon. Now, I have a couple of options. One is you put up with the pigeon, which few people do, or you put in your yard a big cannon with a great big cannonball, or you take a BB gun. Now, if you shoot the cannon, you know what's going to happen, right? Your roof is going to go, and the pigeon is going to be gone. The pigeon is gone, but also your house is pretty much so destroyed. But if you take the BB gun and you shoot the pigeon, you don't even have to shoot it dead. You can just shoot it on the side. The pigeon very likely will not return. And you may have to do it one more time, or maybe 3 more times, but pretty soon that pigeon gets the message and will not return to your roof, and you will be free of it. And that is sort of the same thing as with allopathy and homeopathy. Homeopathy is the BB gun. Allopathy is often the cannonball. And that's why you have so many side effects, and that's why you have so many, and when you hear the commercials with, take this medicine and go to your doctor and have this medicine prescribed to you. But if you take this medicine, then you will have severe side effects of liver problems, maybe even cancer. In some instances, this has occurred. I really think that it is a no-brainer to stay away unless you are in dire need of that medicine to stay away from that medicine. I would rather say go with your pet or go for yourself if you have any problem. Go to a health practitioner first. Go to a homeopathist. And there are many, many of us now. I'm a classical homeopathist. I've been trained at the British Institute of Homeopathy. It's a very, very good school. I'm continuously taking classes. I'm continuously reading. It's a lifelong process to learn this. However, it is also one of the most pleasurable things that I have ever done in my life. Learning how to stay healthy and how to, not get really terribly ill. Fix problems while they are small. And a homeopathist with homeopathy and remedies can do that.
Gisela,
now, yes.
We have 2 questions already in the chat.
All right.
The first one is, what do you recommend to keep fleas off dogs that spend lots of time outside?
Big question. Big question. That is one of the main of our bane of our of our existence. Fleas seem to be getting stronger. I don't know what it's about. But one of the things is bathing very frequently with Dawn. Dawn dishwashing is really fantastic for that. And if it's a big dog, then it is probably not so easy to bathe. You know, the only time when it really becomes a real problem, that's the only time when I really consent and say, well, use one of the flea poisons that is like Aclavir, or don't use Frontline, because Frontline has caused many, many problems in dogs and cats. One of them is, I think that my little Charlie, my little co-host that you saw earlier, I think one of the reasons why he has a bad eyesight is not just because of the Lyme, but I treated him with Frontline at one time. And right after that, he started to have a real problem with his eyesight. So Frontline, I would not recommend at all. But Aclavir seems to be doing pretty well. And, one other thing is also diatomaceous earth. And keep your house free of fleas. Even outdoors, even if it is outdoors a lot, bathing a lot, diatomaceous earth. In fact, you can give diatomaceous earth in the food a little bit. Do abstain from giving garlic. Many people are saying garlic for dogs, and it keeps the fleas away. It keeps the fleas away. However, it's like that cannonball. It destroys the liver and the kidneys. So I don't know. I would stay away from the garlic, but brewer's yeast is good. And rub some, there's neem oil. Neem oil is very, very good for eucalyptus leaves in the house. So there are several. And you know what? For every flea population, there seems to be a different cure. So try several things. But one of the major things is bathing frequently with Dawn and vacuum a lot, keep the house free. Okay, what is the other question?
All right, the other question is, I have a 13-year-old cattle dog mix that suffers with hip dysplasia. Any remedies for discomfort?
Oh, yes, they are. And you know what? That is with the big dog breeds, that is a big problem. Many, many have that. And most of them really, on the end, have to be when they get to a certain age. 13 is really not that old. I had a German Shepherd that had this hip dysplasia, and she lived to be 16, but we did have to help her to pass over to the next life because that is a terrible disease. But there is conium and there's colothings. Now, with that, I would, wherever you live, I would find a homeopathist that can prescribe the right dosage for that. Because homeopathy remedies come in different remedy potencies. And I have a couple here. If you can see, this one is a quite large pellet. I don't advise that as much for dogs or cats. And you can see these pellets are really quite large. They dissolve not so easily. Then there is a liquid one that is really very, very good for dogs or cats. And then there is one that it's my preference. They are very fine pellet, very small. And what you do is you just open the cap and pour a few little in the cap like that, and just open the mouth and put it in. You can also put it onto food, which is not as advisable, but you can do that. But there's conium and colothink, and like I said, both are really quite good. If it's just started, you can try arsenicum for the pain. Arsenicum 30C, you give it twice a day, and the dog will be in less discomfort. But when the dog starts to really give out, when the hips really start to give out, then you can prolong the health of the pet or the dog for a little longer with those two other remedies. Yes.
There's another question. She's asking again, do you feed them the neem oil?
No, you would rub it into the fur.
Okay. I was going to ask, you were saying also to look for a local homeopath. Yes. Because of the dosage. Yes. I thought that you can buy the dosage, like 30 and 60 and right. 1M and 10M.
Absolutely, yes, you can. But which one would be the one that is right? And there we come to the BB gun again. Remember? I told you about the BB gun. Now you can use a pretty large pellet with a BB gun, but if you have only a sparrow on the roof, a pretty large pellet would be way too much. So what you want to do is you want to have the remedies come in different dosages. And then next week, we're going to talk all about these different dosages.
Okay, good.
Also, I'm going to talk about how the remedies are made. So you understand of how to treat. So you don't always have to go to a professional. But for something like a hip dysplasia, I would definitely consult with a homeopath to get the right dosage, to get the right frequency, to get the right remedy.
Okay, and now Kath is asking, what is the best food on the market to feed both house cat, mixed breed, and dog food, Labrador?
I wish I would know. Well, listen, what I do now is I feed a bata. And here it is sold in our local pet food store here in Milford. And it's sold pretty much so. It's a frozen food. And I feed that to my dogs. And you know what? My cats really kind of like it too. Because it's raw, it's organ meats, it's beef, and it's mixed with vitamins. You have to experiment. The best one is not always the one that your animals will eat. So you have to, especially cats, cats are so finicky. And all they want is Friskies. They put something in that Friskies that makes them addicted, and I really kind of like to feed raw. My dogs, I have 3 small dogs, and they all eat raw. The only time they get anything cooked, they don't get any cookies. They don't get any treats. They don't get any chewies. They don't need that. They really don't. And certainly not food that has blueberries and wheat berries and gluten and cornmeal. Have you ever seen a dog that goes into the garden and starts eating fresh vegetables and blueberries? I never have. So I would stay away from that. But if your dog or your cat is older, very hard to change, very difficult to change.
All right, okay. That's all we have for now.
All right. Well, let me tell you a little bit about food. Food is a big one because we are what we eat, and especially with animals. I mean, all these things that are out there that we want to treat our pets like our children. Well, we can give them the love of our children, but please don't treat them like children. They are not humans. They have a different digestive system. They need different things. We cannot give them the same kind of foods that are just good for us. Wheat and cornmeal and byproducts are not the right thing for our animals.
We have a caller.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi. I just sent a message on your chat, but I don't think you got it.
Oh. Well, no, I don't.
Which one?
Hi.
You need to turn down the volume on the web.
Oh, okay. Well,
okay.
Can I just ask my question now?
Okay. Who is this?
This is Jackie.
Okay. What's your question?
I have a small dog, and I believe he has allergies maybe to grass because he's always chewing his feet. And I'm wondering if there's something that could help him.
Well, Jackie, it's very likely not to grass. Very likely because he chews his feet because there is a deficiency in it. It's a very difficult thing to treat because a lot of dogs do that because they either have candida. Many dogs get candida because it's a.
What is that?
It really is an overabundance of the bad bacteria in our body. We eat yogurt. Feed them a spoon of yogurt a day. You'll see probably will dissipate much more so.
Can I give him a probiotic?
Yeah, you can give probiotics. Yeah.
I don't know if he'll eat yogurt.
Small dog?
Yes.
Yeah. So
he's like 10 pounds.
Yeah. So you give him just a small amount of probiotics. But the best thing that dogs really do well with yogurt. They really do well. Yes. Yogurt, cottage cheese, they do very well with that. And they all have probiotics. You don't have to buy expensive probiotics for it.
So you think it's actually like a yeast problem?
It could be a yeast problem. I would test him for, if it continues, test him. Go to my website. You can email me direct if you wanted to. My website is mylife-mywill.org. Okay. And they can email me directly and we can discuss it a little more.
Okay. Can you also tell me why he chases his tail, or is he just because he's nuts?
He could have worms.
I see.
He could have worms.
Okay.
Sometimes they do that, and some of them are just neurotic.
Yes, he is a little neurotic.
Yeah, they get the same problems that we have. That's why I said earlier, with all of the electronics that are around, our pets are, very much susceptible to that too. We see much more cancer. We see much more neurotic behavior. We see much more itching and continuous itching. I'm constantly looking for new remedies and new ways of treating those pets.
Okay. Perhaps I can give them some wine to calm them down also.
Well,
they're just
better
like
than
humans,
wine
right?
is you can give him some rescue. Just put rescue remedy into his water. There's a little alcohol in there too. You can give him the alcohol.
I have to tell you, I just used rescue remedy on a feral kitten that I had, and it helped her wonderfully. It was really awesome, the change in her.
Yeah.
That is great stuff, yeah.
It is. For people, too.
Yeah. Well, thank you, and I will email you so we could chat together.
Oh, yes, and come and see my show next week again, because...
I'd love to. It was great. It's really interesting.
Subjects. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for calling. All right. Anybody else online?
No.
Okay.
Well, there's a question. What about heartworm remedies?
Yeah. Well, I have never, ever given my pets heartworm medicine. Never. Why? One of the reasons is that to be infected with heartworm, the pet has to be stung by a mosquito that has the heartworm bacteria. And my pets all have had sufficient fur that I don't think that they ever would have gotten stung. Now, talking to a vet, she told me that I'm really gambling. I've been very successful with it not having, because, like I said, I do feed raw. And when you feed raw and without all of the additives that most of the commercial foods have, you keep your pets very healthy. That's also another thing with the flea problem. If you keep your pets very healthy and they have a strong immune system, fleas don't really like that as much. They rather attack a pet or somebody that is not quite as healthy, and they don't stay around that long either. Fleas. So I'm not saying that the pet was sick. It's just that older pets are more susceptible because the immune system is a little bit more down, just like with people. But for heartworm, I do the same thing as I do with everything. I keep my pets as healthy as I can. There are some remedies that respond to keeping the heart healthy. And one of them is Crataegus, and it's a hawthorn medicine and made from hawthorn. And that seems to keep the heart muscle very strong, because heartworm attacks the heart. And then once the heart is filled with these terrible worms, then it spills into the body and infests the whole organism. So those are very, very difficult cases then to heal. But I have seen it with homeopathic remedy that these animals got better. But it usually requires several different remedies, one after another, and it requires a homeopath. It's very difficult to do that on your own. But to keep the animal healthy up front, I would just really bathe your animals, at least once a month or every 2 weeks, and give them healthy food. tripe and heart and liver and a pig's ear, and find a farm around you that you can buy some of it, or go and buy the abata. I I really have found my dogs absolutely love it, and one of my clients and friends turned me on to that, and I was grateful for it, and um, they're eating it and they're staying healthy. Yeah. Anything else?
No, that's it. I mean, just to add to what you were saying, it seems like I heard from somebody who was saying that it's actually better and cheaper too, as far as heartworms, to get the pets checked, the blood test every
Yeah.
6 months. And
Well,
if it happens in 6 months, you can still treat it. Is that true?
yes, but that's a little excessive, 6 months. I would once a year, I would have him checked, and that's more than enough. If the pet is healthy, that is a disease that doesn't go very rampant and not very fast. It's a slow disease, and it's not as vital like Lyme disease. We will have one show where we will talk all about Lyme
Okay.
disease.
Okay.
And heartworm is similar to that, only it's much slower. Yes. Well, I think this is probably all the time we have, right? Can we do something else yet? Shall
You,
we?
if you want to go a little bit more, you can. Yes.
All right. One of the things is that I just want to say we have often that pets um, exhibit a lethargic behavior. It's like they're depressed. They seem like they don't want to get up. They don't want to eat. They don't want to. They don't want to. When you come near them, they thump their tail a little bit, but that's about it. The first line of defense for that is the first thing that I do is I check their nose. Is the nose still nice and cold and wet? Because that's their temperature gauge. It's in cats and dogs. If the nose is warm and dry, very likely there is a little fever going on. So you would then want to check something else. You want to check the paws. Are the paws cool? Are the paws warm? If the paws are cool, then that is an indication that the system is starting to there's something definitely wrong in the body. If the paws are warm, like the normal paws, and the ears are warm in a nice, warm, comfortable way, then it is not so very dire. And I would just give a dose of arsenicum, one dose. They may have just eaten something that didn't agree with them, or they may just have a day off. That those things everybody should know. Once you know, you can also take the temperature of your pet. Take a little Vaseline, take a thermometer, push it just a tiny bit into their butt, not a whole lot, a little bit. That's enough. There's also the ear thermometer works well with animals that don't want to have anything that you mess around with their bottom, you know. But and the ones for babies, you can purchase one of those, and you can hold it in their ear, and it will tell you the temperature. 106 is a good temperature for either cat or dogs. Anything above that or way below, like in the 98, 98 would indicate probably a kidney or heart problem. And I would then, if you're not experienced, I would then go and say, well, let's call the vet or call my homeopathist, and let's see what I can do. way above, there are some remedies. I would also call my homeopathist and I would say, these are the symptoms. This is what's been happening. And if you would call me, I would probably say, well, has there been some vomiting? How long has it been going on? How has there some diarrhea? Has there been has it been a lot of ticks on them? It could be an indication of Lyme. We'll have a whole show on that one day in the next few weeks. And so, you have to really be very active, but don't run with the slightest thing to the vet. Always call your natural health professional first. That should be your first line of defense for yourself and your pets. Because if they can't help you, then the vet or the doctor has to be consulted. And I would always, like I found with my husband when he had heart failure, he had an aneurysm in his heart, I found a doctor that consults with me and that passes by and says, Gisela, I'm planning to do such and such and such. What do you think? And then, if I know about what he's doing, I can give him the answer. If I don't know about it, I'll ask him if I have a day's time to make the decision, because then I'll research it. Today with the internet, it's so easy to research anything and everything. Whatever you put in your mouth on medicines, research online. Whatever you give to your pet on medicines, do not trust anybody to do the right thing. They may want to. They may have the good intention, but you are the caretaker. You are the one who has to know what goes into your pet's mouth. Okay? All right, I think that's about it for today. I think I give you a little bit something to think about. Next week, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to tell you more of how these remedies are made, how many remedies they are, how many potencies, why different potencies. And I look forward to your questions again. Thank you so much for calling in, all of you. And hope to see you next week online at 7 o'clock. Bye for now.
Tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVBI members, The Tanya Love Show, Your Healthy Pet with Gisela DiCarlo. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by Atomus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.